I need new anime to watch. But I don't know where to get anime from, so I'm left with nothing. I mean, I could scroll through the countless animes that Crunchyroll contains, but I don't have all day. So you know what I could do? I could go to the homeless. But I don't leave the house. That's something that I don't do. I stay in this chair 24/7 and I watch anime. I just finished Engage a Kiss, and you know, that was a pretty good anime. But I've got nothing left. So I guess I just want to sit here. Please don't kill me.
I am not here to kill you. I'm here to help. I will give you a list. Watch whatever is on said list.
What?
I will be back to check on you in a few days. I hope you like what I give.
Wait, no, come back! Where the fudge did it go? Oh. Favorite. My favorite. It does contain a list. Might as well watch it. Well, now I have a list of animes to watch, and, you know, look it over like 50 times. Renting a girlfriend? I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But hey, what do I know? I haven't been outside and known the laws for years now. So hey, things could have changed. I doubt they have. Make the rain end. Episode 1. Okay. Yeah, it's bad. It starts with our main character getting broken up with. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, and he's like, I'm depressed now. Whoop-de-doo. Whatever will I do with my life? And then it's like, I don't know. And so when he gets home after, because he's in college, mind you, he's 20 years old in college. And so he gets home, and he's, you know, in grief saying stuff like, I hated her anyway. She was dumb, and she liked eating frogs, so I could care less. And then, he finds his dating app. He's like, oh, cool. You can rent a girlfriend, which is illegal. And so he does. And on their first date, he thinks he went swell. They went to the aquarium. They had some dinner. Ooh. And then he finds out that it's a renting service. So that means it's all fake. And so he gets mad and throws a fit. And like, it's all stupid. And he scrolls through the, because he like gives star ratings and stuff and like review them. And he goes through them. And he gives her a 1-star review, and that makes her mad. And so, on their second date, they go back to the aquarium, and he just lashes out on her right there. And she's like, what are you, stupid? Like, well, you're acting like that's the whole point. And then he gets a phone call with his grandma being in the hospital, and that's a whole thing. This show sucks. I don't think I mentioned that. The acting's terrible. It's pretty boring. Like, really boring. Like, I really don't know what to say. The plot in episode 1 is just so basic. Like, you can see better in the quintessential quintuplets acting too. The English version of TQQ is so great. And this sounds like pure donkey. He gets to the hospital, and his dad and mom is like, Granny, are you okay? Blah, 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 blah. And then he comes up with this girl, and they're like, who is that? Is she a friend from college? There ain't no way you got a girlfriend. Our son's a loser. I know, right? And he's like, it's my girlfriend. And they're like, no way! The grandma's like, oh, I'm going to tell everybody. And then she tells the girlfriend's grandma, and they go look for him. And so they got to hide. and they hide in a weird position. This is basically a baby's first hentai, so babies shouldn't be watching hentai. Nor should people below the age of 20. Porn addictions are real. Don't get addicted. But, yeah, that's it. This show's pretty meh already. I'll probably have more to say in episode 5. Welcome back to the podcast, the #1 podcast in the whole world. Today we got Rent a Girlfriend with episode 2 through 5. What was that? Okay, so the basics of everything. Where do I even begin with this? There are so many things to talk about with that. First of all, he continues renting her. Because, his grandma wants them to get married and have kids. They make it very apparent that the grandma wants him to do the dirty. They won't, probably, I hope not. And so, they continue doing their thing. They get back they agree to just go to... Okay, hold on. When his grandma came over to his house, because she's still not at the hospital, she has to be under supervision, but his grandma went over to his house, as well, and she wanted both of them there. And so we find out that he and she live next to each other, because of course they do. And we also find out more about his ex, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. He tells her that they're broken up, because that's like the whole plan. Like, they're going to tell the grandma that they've broken up, so they can, move on with their normal lives and go find different people to talk to. And then he gets really nervous. He tells her, he's like, me and her are broken up, and he expected her to be mad. And she was like, that's fine. I mean, I'm surprised you even got that far with someone. And then here, the rental comes, and she says, hello, we're not broken up. I brought food, lol, XD. And that's the whole thing that happened. And so they have to, keep it going. And I say that as fast as I can, because this is when it gets interesting. They go on so his friends, they were coming back because they agreed to go to the hospital. Everyone to see his grandmother. And on their way back, they found the main character's friends. And you know what? There's the one guy. He has black hair, alright? I love him. He's great. He's like, don't look so down. I love him. I love the voice they give him. It's just great. He's funny. He's my favorite character by far. I hope he gets... Yeah. And so they invite him to dinner. Both of them. And what he didn't know was that his ex, which her name's Mommy for some reason. Like, when he first said her name, he was like, hi, Mommy. I'm like, welcome back to the podcast. What the fudge was that? It was confusing. And I was like, did he mean to say that? Or is that just her name? And it turns out it was just her name. It's spelled Mamami. So, Mammy. It's Miami. Welcome back to the podcast for today. We're in Miami. And, he goes to use the bathroom. He comes back and the ex is sitting in front of the rental. And then she starts saying, oh yeah, when me and him were dating, he was such a horn dog. He just kept talking about how hot I was. And then he's like, yeah, that happened. And then the rental stands up for him and says, well, you're stupid. Shut up. No one likes you. Go die in a hole. And he's like, what the fudge? What just happened? And then he just drinks his sorrows away. So on his walk home, the ex catched up with him. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry about all that. And she tries to flirt with him. Fudge, where's this going? And then there's no way to make what happens interesting unless I welcome back to the podcast once again. Today we're in the streets recording some rando people talk, and so basically she tried to get him over to her place and do the nasty. Didn't work out. Brother had friends over. And she's like, all right, why don't you come over to my place? I got some new fish. And that's literally what he said, like, why don't you come over to my place? I got some new fish. And then that didn't work out. I don't know what happened there. It's so confusing. So on his way back home, he runs into the rental. And she's like, you know what? Do whatever you have to, as long as I get my money. And so, bahoom. Then this is when it gets interesting. The beach trip. Holy fudge. Alright. So, on the beach trip, at first it was just him and his friends and his ex and her friends. And then when he goes to use the bathroom, no. When they're talking, the rental in a disguise shows up. Like, oh no, she's here. She's gonna kill everybody. Not really, but. And then he like tries to act cool. He's like, I think I don't know you at all. Okay. That's literally, she's like, I don't know him at all. It's nice to meet you. Like, give him like a dead stare, like, you say anything. And we found a dead body. That's important later. And so, they continue. She leaves, they continue. And then he goes to the bathroom. And then she knocks on the door. He opens it, sees her, brings her into the bathroom and says, well, what's going on? And so then his ex comes by saying like, hey, there's someone in there? He's like, it's just me. And then she was like, I hear a girl in there. And then he comes out, then she comes out in a bathing suit, like, and his friends are like, did you lose it? I told you not to lose it yet until it's official. And he's like, shut up, no, I didn't. I didn't lose anything. And in this corner, you got an absolute fudge. My knee. That's what happened there. They go to swim, and then they were talking about going over to her place. They think she's like super rich. And then he stands up and he says, me and her, we're done. We're breaking up. He says, we're talking about breaking up. And they all look at him like, because prior to this, his ex called him over like, hey, I lost my bracelet. Can you help me find it? And his ex, a man was found cheating on his rental girlfriend. The ex kissed him. And so at the table was like, me and her were talking about breaking up, so he could have a chance with his ex, because he still has feelings for her, and that's a whole thing. And she's like, yeah. And then his friend, the black-haired guy, gets up, swings at him, and calls him stupid, like, you don't understand, you try so hard to do all this stuff, and boom, epic fight scene. It's better if you watch it, because, me explaining this, it's hard to explain what happened, because, well, a lot but little happened. A lot of things happened, but they're hard to explain without, like, having to go into every single detail, which my little brain can't hold all that information. Him and the rental go to talk, like, you know what I mean. The main character in the rental go to talk, and, he's like, what if we just break it off now? We might as well. Like, I'll pay you for today, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, all right, yeah, I'm fine with that. And then the black hair dude catches her, and they talk. They talk. He like goes into everything. Like he doesn't really have much of a girlfriend. Never really did. And the girl he likes is an absolute lunatic and probably fake. Just wants him for stuff. Like so is she. But and like please for me, I got some tickets. Go take them out somewhere. It's a cruise. And just don't break up with him. And then she was like, okay. And she didn't know what to say. And so here comes the boy, the main character. Like, what's going on? Because he was there listening to it all, and they caught him and stuff. So he's like, all right, what is all this? And she's like, all right, let's go. We might as well. Like, what is it? It's like, I forgot. A cruise. And so they go on the cruise, and the girlfriend, the rental, she's been feeling kind of sick throughout the entire beach trip. And so finally, she's about to pass out because she's like feeling really sick. And then she falls off the cruise. And so while he's on the phone with his ex, he sees all that happen. He's like, oh, fudge. He drops his phone. And he's like, oh, fudge. He drops it. Like, I don't have anything soft around me. And he goes chasing after her. They're trying to stop him from jumping off, but he still does it. And they wash up on shore. And the only person that's actually breathing is her, the rental. And so she's doing this, trying to bring back his, trying to not make him not dead. And doesn't work out at first, so she has to do CPR. Wait. Welcome back to... No, I'm not doing that. He takes it to heart. We all know he's like, I probably shouldn't take it to heart. But I'm going to take it to heart anyway, because that's funny. And so they go home, and then his grandma gets out of the hospital, and so does her grandma. I think I mentioned all that. And so she's like, come on, pack up your bags. I should also mention there was a scene. And welcome back to the podcast, the only podcast in the world that's important. Today we're in a... Oh, fudge. Why is he grabbing tissues? He's thinking about his ex. Oh, fudge! And then he finds out he has feelings for the rental as he thinks about her while he's... If you know why he got the tissues, you know. And after that, they go on a road trip with the grandma and stuff, and it turns out it was a setup. And so they have to share a room together, and, the grandma's like, oh, go have fun. And they do know that, they eat their food, they're like, all right, we're going to stay here no matter what, because I can't bring it to just hurt your grandma's or my grandma's feelings. He's like, you know what, to make it better for you, I'm going to go sleep in the bathroom. You sleep out here. And she's like, why? Like, oh no. Welcome back to the podcast. Now the second podcast in the world because some idiot made a new podcast. But is she starting to like him? Question mark. And that's all we got so far. A lot, but little has happened. Again, as I said, a lot has happened, but little to explain. Without going into actual detail, which I'd be here for hours. If they had to say, and then she took a step. She took a step forward. Oh! Now I do realize that this anime is 20 episodes long. So for today, I'm just going to go to episode 10. Then I'll watch another 10 episodes because 20 episodes is a lot. That was an anime. I don't know what else to say about it. So, we start right off after the beach trip, and Mommy is hating our main character here because, of what happened with her doing CPR, or the rental doing CPR with him, and we don't really see her after episode 5. So, let me just go into what I know. So, they leave from the little place they were at with their grandmas. Nothing happened, but she is going to continue being a rental for him. And that's like a thing they agreed upon. Like, he's like, what if we just you continue being our rental for me? He's like, yeah, whatever. And so his friend, not the black haired one, the nerdy one, that's what we'll call him. The nerdy one, he got himself a date. Let's go! He's got something, let's go! Oh. Nah. It was also a rental. Earlier in the episode, he ran into this black haired, short, high pitched girl. She has a little bow like Yotsuba from the quintessential quintuplet, so we'll just call her Blue Ribbon. Blue Ribbon here. She's she agreed to a double date with the rental and the main character and the nerd. So it's her and the nerd and the rental and him and the main character. And, they go to this rock climbing place because, climbing rocks is fun. And with this rock climbing place, she finds out about her. They don't know that she's a rental. They don't know that Blue Ribbon's a rental. But Blue Ribbon finds out about the rental girlfriend being a rental. She's like, are you a rental? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. You're out of here, Blue Ribbon. And that's a thing that happens. So, after that, she's talking to the main character, and she's finding out. She's finding out. We need to stop it somehow. From her telling him. And the main character's like, all right, I'll do something. So they walk home. He catches her at the subway after the nerds left, and she's like, okay, this just proves that she's a rental. Like, why else would you be following me? He's like, all right, fine. She's a rental. And then she's like, well, then get out of my life, you weirdo. And so before she leaves, though, she almost falls down some stairs. And so he protects her. And this is actually before she finds out she's a rental. It's after this that she finds out she's a rental. I'm sorry, I'm confused. I'm still trying to remember everything myself. And he catches her, and he's like, why did you catch me? Like, I can't have my friend's girlfriend dying or getting hurt. And she's like, I'm a rental. I'm like, no. And that's the whole thing. And so he tells the rental girlfriend that Blue Ribbon is a rental. Oh my gosh, I'm saying rental so many times, it's not like a word anymore. And she's like, okay, this is where step one comes. And then here comes Blue Ribbon walking up the stairs, and she starts saying stuff. Then she says, I, Blue Ribbon, will not tell anyone if you, main character, go on a date with me. I was like, holy fudge! What the? Let's go! And they go on a date. Cool stuff. He didn't want to, the rental girlfriend was like, maybe you shouldn't do it, but he does it anyway because, well, she started crying, and she was like, all right, maybe she's actually serious about liking you, and which she is so far. At least I'm only 10 episodes in, there's 20 episodes, so who knows. But other than, so they go on a date, he doesn't really like her, and then, they date, and then Christmas time comes around. I love Christmas, man. Like, it's the best season ever. Like, Christmas just gives me that warm feeling. You start seeing snow come from the ground, and if I were to just, like, die, I don't want to die while it's snowing. That's just a thing that's a personal preference for me. People hate it. I mean, I guess driving in it sucks. Anyway, the Blue Ribbon, she isn't in this episode, actually. It's all about a main character following the rental around while she's going on a date with someone. It turns out it's not a date, but that's not important. And while he follows her around, he starts hearing things from the guy. I was like, this guy's a jerk. He's using her for a means of pleasure. And so in the bathroom, he overhears him talking on the phone, and, it really does sound bad what he says. And so it was at a Christmas tree, and he's like, hey, wait a minute, I know what you're up to? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm here for the. She's an actor. I'm here to just catch up with her. Like, oh, well, I feel stupid now. And then, yeah, she's like, I. She didn't want to tell him that she was an actor, but she did. And then she gives him a gift, and he's like, let it get to his head again. And then it's like, does she like me? Does she not? Oh. So the next day, he asks her about it, and she's like, it's part of the rules, you idiot. It's part of my contract that I give my clients a gift. And you're like, oh, well. And, he actually gets a job at this point because, he's running low on money because she takes a lot of money to rent. And so the Blue Ribbon actually gets a job with him later on. But, yeah, that's basically, like, it goes like that. And then the grandma has, like, a shrine they go to for, I think, I don't know what it's for. I don't remember. But Rental and main character go along. And then here comes Blue Ribbon, or the actual girlfriend. And she's like, hello, everybody. And grandma's like, who are you? If you don't tell me, I'll shoot you. That's not what she actually said, but grandma's scary sometimes. And she was like, I'm his girlfriend. And the grandma's like, no, she is. And then even the main character Rental like, no, she is. She is not Blue Ribbon. And so the grandma pulls the main character aside, and the Rental pulls Blue Ribbon aside, and they both are, and the grandma's like, what is wrong with you? You are cheating on her with that Blue Ribbon girl. And he's like, no, you don't understand. She's delusional. That's actually what she says. He says, it's basically what he says. I don't remember exactly what he says, but something like that. And the Rental's like, well, you gotta stop. Because, well, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you are not helping us, so leave. She's like, I'm not leaving. The grandma said the truth. You guys are lying to her. That's not nice to do. And so that's the whole thing that goes down. Now, she never does tell the grandma the truth, because, that's a thing that's being hidden. She was going to, but she never got to. The guy she was dating and broke it off with, he's still in despair, so main character's like, alright, I gotta do something for him. And so when he get his first paycheck, he goes to Rental girlfriend. He's like, hey, you go on a date with him. I'll pay for it. If you just go on a date with him and make him feel better, which she does, that's the whole thing that gets resolved. And she was hesitant at first. Like, she was hesitant, but she still did it. And so now that he's feeling better, they're back at home. And then he gets a note from her saying, meet me at the balcony. He's like freaking out, like, oh no, what's about to happen? I didn't even mention the love hotel scene. Like, that's really not important. That's how Blue Ribbon knows where they're meeting at. So, yeah. And so he meets her on the balcony. And she's like, there's this new Rental girlfriend. She's a bit shy. But I need you to go talk to her. I need you to, like, go on a date with her and get her used to things. Can you do that for me? You're like, sure, whatever. And so that's another whole thing that happens. Yippee!